As recently as 2003, it was possible to fly from New York to London in just 3.5 hours aboard the Concorde. And if you were flying in the other direction, this meant that you would actually arrive before you even departed, as the time it took for Concorde to cross the Atlantic was shorter than the time zone difference between London and New York. Or in other words, the Concorde's cruising speed of 1350 miles per hour, or more than twice the speed of sound, was faster than that of the Earth's rotation. However, while Concorde was an exceptional marvel of engineering, it had a few major issues that led to its ultimate downfall. Without getting into too much detail here, Concorde's high fuel consumption, combined with being restricted to only routes over water due to the sonic boom, made it a niche aircraft with high operating costs. While the aircraft was never economical to begin with, the fatal crash of Air France Flight 4590 in 2000 was the last straw. Passenger confidence in the airliner plummeted, and Concorde was forced to be discontinued by the end of 2003. Fast forward 2 decades, and now a lot of startups have emerged with highly ambitious plans of bringing back the supersonic era of commercial aviation, the most notable of which being Boom Supersonic. Boom's Overture is designed to fly at cruising speeds of Mach 1.7 over water, carrying 65 to 88 passengers on board, all while running on 100% sustainable aviation fuel. And they've made huge strides towards fixing some of the greatest problems plaguing supersonic flight. Unlike Concorde, which was built out of aluminum, Overture will be made primarily out of carbon composite material, or more specifically, polymers reinforced with carbon fibers. This material, also used in the 787 and the A350, has some unique advantages, such as being lightweight, stronger, and more heat resistant. The lighter fuselage means that Overture will require less fuel to reach supersonic speeds. Not only that, but it can also be reshaped more easily, allowing for more aerodynamic design. In addition, advances in engine technology have made it possible for Overture to take off and reach supersonic speeds without having to use afterburners, significantly decreasing its fuel consumption and noise pollution during takeoff and landing. According to Boom, Overture is designed to be profitable for airlines at fares comparable to subsonic business class, which is much lower than Concorde's $10,000 price tag when adjusted for inflation. However, many in the aviation industry remain skeptical of Overture's ability to get off the ground, much less revive commercial supersonic flight. Critics have been quick to point out that while Overture is a lot more efficient than Concorde, it also carries much less passengers. And they've also questioned whether demand for commercial supersonic travel even exists in the first place. After all, subsonic business travel has changed a lot over the last 2 decades. Back when Concorde was around, there wasn't much passengers could do on board a plane, so speed was of the essence. With lie-flat beds and onboard Wi-Fi available on most subsonic business class products today, passengers can now work and rest in comfort during their flight. This raises the question, how many business travelers would be willing to trade comfort for speed? And despite great improvements in fuel efficiency, Overture is likely going to have higher operational costs simply because it needs more fuel to fly faster. Thus, less capacity and demand combined with high costs, making Overture profitable for airlines is likely going to be a challenge. But wait, what if Overture didn't need to be profitable to succeed? What if it was never meant to be a commercial aircraft, but rather a private jet? After all, for the top 1%, time is a much more valuable asset than money. If Overture can get them to their destinations twice as fast, who cares about the cost? However, while corporate executives may seem like the ideal market for supersonic transport, there are some practical issues that can arise. You see, billionaires rarely, if ever, fly out of the congested major airports. Elon Musk, for example, typically flies out of Hawthorne Municipal despite SpaceX's HQ being located right next to LAX. Regional airports like Hawthorne Municipal typically tend to have smaller runways. Once you take into account that Overture needs about 10,000 feet of runway during takeoff in order to reach supersonic speeds, you can see how this might be a problem. But wealthy businessmen aren't the only ones with a boatload of money to spend on supersonic transport. The US Air Force operates a diverse fleet of 50 aircraft, ranging from Bombardier business jets all the way to 747-200s, in order to transport VIPs such as the President, cabinet staff, members of Congress, and military officials. but a lot of these planes are starting to get pretty old and well overdue replacing. While it's well known that Air Force One is expected to be replaced with newer 747-8s, Overture could be an ideal option in the long term, especially considering how much time it would save for government officials. And the military bases and public airports that the president uses can easily accommodate an aircraft like Overture. But VIP transport isn't the only use the Air Force can get out of it. The Air Force has awarded Boom a $60 million contract to research and develop applications of its jet for special ops and recon missions, as well as executive transport. Then if Overture has so much more potential with the Air Force than as a commercial jet, why is Boom marketing towards airlines and why are airlines buying it? Well, think of it this way. If Overture enters service with say United or American, it's bound to get a lot more media attention than if it enters service with the Air Force. Basically, it's good PR for both Boom and the airline. United can get bragging rights for being the first airline to fly supersonic jets, and by selling to major airlines, Boom can gain trust in their brand. So how soon can we see Overture take to the skies? Boom's prototype XB-1 has applied for FAA clearance to conduct supersonic test flights as soon as next month. The company has already broken ground on their Super Factory, the final assembly line for Overture at the Piedmont Triad Airport in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is expected to be completed by the end of this year. If everything goes smoothly, Overture will be rolled out in 2026 and embark on its first flight in 2027 before entering service in 2029. Boom has already accumulated 130 orders and pre-orders from the likes of United, American, and JAL, and claims that Overture could potentially unlock over 600 profitable routes. Although in reality, the aircraft might end up flying only the most high-demand routes, such as New York to London or LA to Tokyo. Ultimately, Boom's Overture might serve a niche market in the world of commercial aviation, but by building a strong reputation, it just might be the next Air Force One. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video interesting, subscribe for more.